Although my junior high was only 3 years, I'm going to try and fit it into all in one video because junior high was where all of the stuff happened. 7th grade, starting out, I honestly could not tell you who my teachers were. I don't remember. I hardly remember 8th grade. And that makes me so mad. I'm so mad that I cannot remember that. So I can't remember what grade it was. I'm thinking it was 7th. But we had a man teacher, and I can't remember his name. Mr. Washburn, that was his name. 7th grade, it was his first year there, and he didn't have a classroom, he had a trailer, because they didn't have any extra classrooms, but they needed the teacher, so they gave him a little mobile home trailer converted into a classroom. Yes, I'm not kidding you. He was kind of nice at times. He would let us play on the computer and whatever. But the slightest little thing would tick him off, and he would go out yelling and screaming at the classroom, and to the point where most people who aren't used to that would start crying. I mean, you know, I was used to it. I dealt with that kind of stuff at home, so that wasn't something, you know, new to me. But a lot of kids, they're not used to that. And he was yelling and screaming and getting their faces and everything. I mean, you know, he wouldn't physically touch them, but it was mental abuse. And we tried to get a stop put to it. We tried to, you know, tell the office. Nobody would believe us. Nobody would listen. So, smart as I am, I snuck a tape recorder into his room. I tape recorded an entire classroom session, and yes, he did yell in that session. I took a new tape the next day, recorded the entire classroom session. Only, he seen something sticking out of my pocket. I did not record the chewing out that he gave us while holding my tape recorder because he turned it off. However, a friend of mine also followed along in my idea and recorded that entire conversation. We handed the tapes over to the principal, and the principal refused to listen to them, so we went to the superintendent. The principal was replaced, and so was Mr. Washburn. Yes, I'm a badass, I know. Also, that year, Darian Mosley, I hate to point out names, Darian Mosley, black guy, me and him, you know, we got along okay. One day, I guess he was just joking around, and he snatched my money out of my hand, which I only had like $5, but it was my lunch money. And I was trying to straighten it out, fold it up, put it in my pocket. Well, he snatched it, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know I grabbed him. I was going to hit the crap out of him. But I thought maybe if I intimidated him and grabbed him, he would give me my money back. No. He decided to punch me, and where he punched me, it knocked all the air out of me, which hurt. I let go of him and pulled out my cell phone. And I called the principal, which I have on speed dial. Had on speed dial. And we ended up in the office. I did not hit him back, so I got my money back, and I got to skip that entire class period. He got suspended from school. So, you know. One of these years, 7th or 8th grade, I can't remember which one it was. I know I had Miss Stockton. She was real nice. She was the language arts teacher. I sat next to a guy named Chad. Chad was pretty awesome. Casey was in one of these classes. I can't remember his last name, but he was hilarious at all times. And hopefully I'll still remember later on when I watch this about the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade halls. It's kind of weird how they have that, and I'm not even going to explanations right now. Let me check time. Okay, we're at 5 minutes. So Miss Stockton, I know I had Miss Vess in 7th grade, and Miss Vess had an assistant named Miss Beth, I think it was, or Miss, I don't know. Her real name's Tama Williams. Turns out I'm related to her. I did not even know that most of the year. So that was kind of interesting. And in all of these stories could be from 7th grade. I'm pretty sure they are. Except for Miss Stockton, she was 8th grade. I remember her. Jeez, I'm trying to remember. Anybody else? Who else did I have? Oh my God, I had Miss Elliott. Miss Elliott was the meanest teacher in all history of teachers. I could have punched her in her face. She was the social studies teacher. She was a 7th grade teacher as well. Real mean lady. Real mean lady. She had a combined room with Miss Vess, only it has a huge soundproof curtain in between them. It's kind of neat. It was really a huge room, so it wasn't like a small room. So that's 7th grade, I'm pretty sure. I know there was another 7th grade teacher, but I just couldn't remember. Couldn't tell you. In 8th grade, the biggest thing I hated about school was PE and health. So that's really all I remember about 8th grade. I know I had Miss Stockton. Mr. What's his name? Oh my gosh. I just seen him at the post office the other day. What is his name? Oh, frig. I'll think of it later. It's Mr. Something. He taught an 8th grade class with me, and there was this girl named Joanna in the class. I remember Joanna like it was yesterday. I had a crush on Joanna. And she was, popular with him. So, he was always picking on her and stuff, and it was real fun to watch that. She actually hurt her leg at one point, and she was on crutches. He took her crutches and threw them out the window. It was funny. He used to always talk about, having horses and where he lived. But if you didn't do your work in his class, he got real strict. And that was one of the biggest things, one of the problems I had. He was a nice teacher, he was a great teacher, but, man, I wished I remembered his name. I think it started with a B, but I'm not real sure. Great teacher. And let me check my time right quick. Okay. I'm trying to hurry through this. 9th grade was the biggest year of my life. This teacher that I was just telling you about, couldn't remember his name, actually transferred as a 9th grade teacher, so I had him yet again, 9th grade. And I had him in the 2nd semester, so I only had him for about 3 months, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But the first semester, I think I had Miss Ledbetter for math. And I actually had to end up taking math both semesters, because I was so behind in math. I was just in Algebra 1. I should have been in Algebra 2. So the 2nd semester was Algebra 2. I had a class. I forget the lady's name. She was the nicest lady in the world. I believe she taught language arts. 9th grade. She was right next to Miss Ledbetter's class. I swear I can't remember. I can't remember her name. And then PE, of course. You had 3 classes in PE, I think is how it went. This lady, the nicest lady in the world, was the one that took us to lunch. I really enjoyed her class. I had a problem in school, though. I never would go to bed early enough, and, I just ended up not... Sorry, I'm checking my time. I ended up not staying awake through all my classes, and that was terrible. Second semester, which I'm trying to rush here. 2nd semester, I had Miss Ledbetter for Algebra 2. I had that guy, Mr. What's his name? And I think I don't remember who I had the other period. It was a optional one of them, periods. I swapped a lot. I had Miss Comer at first, and then I swapped to Mr. King, who was the shop teacher. Miss Comer was the home ec teacher, and I'll tell you about all of them later. There was another teacher that I had, Miss... come on, it starts with an F. I can't remember it. Finning? I think it's Finning. first semester, fourth period, I was a computer lab assistant, and I would go around the school fixing computers for teachers. That was the funnest period I've ever had in the history of school. And then second semester,